We have lunch in a very nice and well-heated hotel. And then we visit the highest monastery in the world, Rombuk, which also gives the name to the alpinist's base. I hoped to be able to learn more about the Tibetan traditions, but I was wrong. Their religion was decapitated half a century ago. There is no Lama living currently in the country. People practice just what was passed to them by the elders. And under these conditions I could not find the enlightenment I've been looking for. What a wealth of impressions! In only 8 days from the arrival in China, 2 days later we are back in Lhasa, ready to continue our Chinese adventure. We are leaving Lhasa by train, in which we are going to spend 2 days in a ride to Xi'an, in the middle of the country, the first capital of China. The train was comfortable, and because of the high altitude, it was climatized with fresh oxygen, generated from this machine. Which also shows that we are at 4,700 meters of altitude. All day we saw flat land, and next morning started also with flat land. But soon we started to see carefully worked crop fields. Every little town was also impressive, because the skyscrapers seemed to be the norm. All across the country we witnessed a fantastic effort of infrastructure construction, such as this high-speed train, the tracks of which followed us all the way. And here we were doubled by a motorway. The scenery became green and picturesque, and this is how, in the evening of the second day, we arrived in Xi'an. Xi'an welcomed us as a large city. Here we spent the night in Mandarin Hotel. The impression of large metropolis, having in fact 8 million inhabitants, is confirmed next morning when we head towards our first stop, the Muslim Quarter, which welcomes us with this animated bazaar. The process of preparing onion pies. It starts by the raw material being dumped on the road. Then it is finely chopped and it spectacularly ends up in the frying pan. Xi'an's historical center has 2 towers. This is the bell tower, from which the mornings were marked with a bell. And this is the drum tower, from which a line of drummers were marking the end of the day. Xi'an, one of the 4 early capitals of China, has an over 3,000 years of history. We climb onto the city walls, well preserved since the 14th century Ming dynasty. The gate we were visiting now was double. The Archer's Tower was facing the exterior of the city, while the Military Council Tower was behind. But the most famous site is 35 kilometers outside the town. Who would guess that this pyramidal hill is the tomb of the Qin Emperor, still unearthed, supposedly hiding miraculous wonders such as a miniature river made of mercury. What was unearthed, though, was the army of terracotta warriors, which we are visiting now. There are 6,000 pottery warriors and 40 horse charts in this pit number 1, which measures 230 by 62 meters, discovered in 1974. Very well organized for tourism, with majestic entrance made of granite. It is a World Heritage Site, considered by some as one of the wonders of the world. The trenches or channels were originally covered by wood beams, whose shapes are still visible. There was a wood cart in this gap, now missing. Each character is really different, and their ensemble is impressive. This is one of the 160 kneeling archers. And this is a middle rank officer recognized by its flat hat. A separate pit, number 3, groups the command officers. The 7 generals had a headgear tied up with a ribbon under their chin. The knots on the armor plate are decorations, and their shoes are curved upwards. And this is a cavalryman with his horse. They all had real weapons, most of them stolen. In the separate pit number 2, the trenches were not opened. In fact, the whole army had no high commander, because that position was supposed to be filled by the emperor's soul. In a separate museum, we see the chariot that was supposed to carry the emperor's soul. The path is opened by this chariot number 1, whereas the soul is in the second, tortoise-roofed cab, which has a little window and a little door. They are both half-size models of real chariots. We take farewell from Xi'an's terracotta warriors as we fly the same evening from Xi'an to Chengdu, an important economic center with 14 million inhabitants. We stayed overnight in Buddha Zen Hotel, a very nice place. Pity we didn't stay longer. In the morning, we continued to explore the hotel. And watch the people performing Tai Chi in the street. Then we rushed to the famous Chengdu giant panda breeding center. And we were delighted by the lovely creatures. Black ears and eyes, tiny white tail, very lazy, and this is what they do all day. There is also a species of red panda living in the Himalayas. We leave the Panda Center in very good spirits and get immersed in the traffic jams. From Chengdu, we experienced the high-speed train for a ride to Chongqing. The train has a huge capacity, it's very silent, smooth, so that in no time we arrived in a city little known by us before, Chongqing. Chongqing. This very impressive municipality has 33 million people, 7,000 high schools, 55 universities, Mazda, Hewlett-Packard, IBM and other factories. But more impressive, hundreds of skyscrapers, most residential flats, others business towers, on the shores of the Yangtze River and its affluents. Some call it a new Hong Kong, others a new San Francisco. We stop in the old city center first to enjoy the open market. And then have tea with music in a tea house. Lid down means you won't refill. Lid up means no thank you. The dinner was in a traditional hot pot restaurant. The pot itself has two partitions, one spicy hot and the other one mild. And you fry the ingredients yourself. After a mild start, we all ended up burning our lips in the spicy pot. At night, we drove towards the Yangtze River, which means Mother River, passed by the Opera House, to the docks, because the next step of our trip was a 3-day cruise on the river from Chongqing to Yichang.
Hello. Thank you.
The welcome was very nice.
Hello.
The briefing with massage was even nicer. The life on board was very busy. Here we watched the departure from Chongqing. In the morning, after breakfast, we take a trip on shore to Fengdu, a site with lots of silly attractions for tourists. Only kindness brings peace is the slogan of Taoism, and the ruler of heaven in the same mythology is the Jade Emperor, shown here. And now the commandments of Confucius. Avoid lawsuit, do not steal even if hungry, no playboy, no playgirl, respect your parents and grandparents. To enter the temple, you should be able to say, God knows your mind, standing on one foot. You meet judges and are shown punishments in an atmosphere of kitsch. However, from the tip of the pagoda we had beautiful views. And the stopover ends with this memorable notice. Other activities on board included fitness, watching a demonstration of Chinese painting, and the captain's cocktail. The shortest is the captain. Followed by a fashion show across the centuries.